Hey, everybody, welcome. Welcome to the show. Little change of pace today. I was asked by a number of you to give my 2 cents toward the coronavirus thing. So, after yesterday, after I listened to the CDC and the World Health Organization, after I had a discussion with my wife about this whole issue with the coronavirus, after I heard the dire consequences that were coming out of the words of the people from the CDC. It's inevitable, they said. It's going to spread everywhere, they said. You may have it and not even know, they said. And then there's the one case that said, we have one person in California, I believe, that had no exposure to anybody and developed this. So, what does that plant in your head? That it fell out of the sky, that all of a sudden, this one person who didn't have any exposure to anybody who traveled to China developed this. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time trying to calm y'all down and give you a little bit of a concept that I've been asked a lot of times, like, what can I do? How can I prevent this? Besides washing my hands or using those god-awful alcohol, little things you carry in your car to wash your hands all the time, which in this case, probably a good idea. And the information was on the news this morning that you can't even get masks because people have been buying up every single last piece and then doubling the price and putting it back on eBay. Let me just say this: face masks should only be worn by people who show symptoms. It's not going to help you prevent it from happening. If somebody's diagnosed with an upper respiratory problem, pneumonia, etc., you put one on so that you don't spread it yourself. So this whole concept, I'm going to put these things on when I travel. I'm going to put these things on and wear it out in the public. I was with a fella yesterday. It was a cold, wet, damp day, but we played golf anyway. And this one fella I was playing with, I came up. I've never met him before, and I went to shake hands. He says, I don't shake hands. We did an elbow bump. The paranoia that this fella had, even being out on the golf course. And I'm sure a lot of you are in that mode right now. I'm frightened. The CDC has scared me. Thank God the president has a commission involved that is trying to come up with some common sense plans just in case. And we've done a tremendous job here in the United States. Less than 20 cases diagnosed, and every one of those are in seclusion right now and are in the process of being healed. Worldwide, thousands and thousands and thousands of cases, and it's popping up in countries all over the world. But let me first say this, or second or third, whatever: you don't get a virus out of the air. So that fella in California, I guarantee you, was in touch with somebody or somebody's friend of a friend who traveled to China, and that they carried that virus and he picked it up. Okay, so let's just go through a couple of things. The only way to really truly diagnose this, if you have this fear factor, and I've got an upper respiratory thing, I've got bronchitis, I'm getting paranoid that it might be this. The only way to truly diagnose this is a chest CT scan. Not an X-ray, no need for an MRI, a CT scan. Because what this will do is show very distinct signs in the lungs about how long it's been since you were exposed. So don't go all rushing to your doctor and demand a CT scan right now. Pay attention. This is a respiratory illness. It causes a lot of respiratory distress. Sort of kind of like pneumonia. So we're going to talk today about putting out an ounce of prevention, to do a prevention course with yourself so that, God forbid, it starts to spread, you've got a defensive shield put up. That's what I've done. I'm not wearing a mask. I'm around people that are ill all the time. So let's first say, like I asked my wife this morning, I said, do you have any idea why it's called the coronavirus? I asked Google a couple times this morning, excuse me, I got something in my eye. I asked Google a couple times this morning, hey Google, why is it called a coronavirus? My phone's answering right now. And it says, I can't give you that information. Bottom line is, the coronavirus was named after the way this thing looks. If you isolate this from sputum or somebody that's truly been diagnosed with this and you want to take a look at that virus, that thing that entered the body, it sort of looks like a moon that you see in the sky surrounded by dust or particles that extend out after it. Here is an actual picture. Notice all those specks, sort of like a halo around a circle. They defined it as a corona. So they called this a coronavirus, COVID-19, coronavirus disease. CO for corona, VI, virus, D, disease, number 19. They've identified this as the 19th type of pulmonary virus that's been isolated. So once again, what have we said so far? 15 cases, person-to-person contact, sputum, direct contact, hands, potential, wash your hands, be effective there. The typical things you do to avoid the flu. To truly diagnose this, you have to have a chest CT scan. Understandable. In a new study published in Journal of Radiology, investigators from Mount Sinai Health System determined that the various CT findings were more common at certain points during the disease progression. And since there is a 2-week incubation period, those that might be suspected of being exposed could have a CT scan done and can isolate changes that can identify if you've had it and how long you've had it. The typical incubation period is 2 weeks, 14 days. Then your body typically can take care of it on its own. It's one of those that if you have a strong enough immune system, it can take care of this. Researchers know the time between the initial emergence of symptoms and a chest CT, it's usually 0 to 2 days, intermediate 3 to 5 days, late 6 to 12 days. Among those who were imaged early, the team found ground glass abnormality in their lungs, the appearance of ground glass at the base of the lungs. First sign that there might be something. They also found something called crazy paving development or a plaquing over of some of the bronchioles in the lungs. So that's point number one. Point number two. Where did it come from? You know, there's been this thought process that this was part of a bio attack that China was planning, and it leaked out. Was this something that was man-made or not? Now, this is where a really, really, really important point gets to be made. And it's been my argument with the flu every year, is that these are live, active viruses that have mutated. The flu is, and it changes every year. That's why a universal flu shot, I doubt that will ever work. And the same thing happened here. New research from a group of 5 respected global scientists has concluded that the COVID-19 coronavirus that began in China and is now spreading around the world contains at least 2 genetic clues to indicate that it was probably created in nature and not in a lab. The team presented its findings at a paper last week, Virological Online. COVID-19, to dispel the idea that COVID-19 was created by scientists and accidentally let out, the virus now has infected nearly 80,000 people in China and more than 2,000 in 31 other countries. Some internet users have theorized, and it goes on and on. So it basically says that they've actually isolated some marks that say this was nothing more than a virus similar to SARS that mutated and found its way out. Now, let's take a look at this. What's medicine have for this. COVID-19 is a disease caused by an infection of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, first identified in the city of Wuhan in China's Hubei province in December of 19. It was previously known as 2019 novel coronavirus respiratory disease before the World Health Organization declared the official name as COVID-19 in this past month of February. The SARS-CoV-2 virus belongs to a family of viruses called coronaviruses, which also includes the viruses that cause, gotta understand this, same family of viruses that cause the common cold. Same viruses that cause more serious infections such as severe acute respiratory syndrome, or SARS. Also the same thing that caused Middle East respiratory syndrome, or MERS. Like the other coronaviruses, the SARS-2 coronavirus primarily causes respiratory tract infections, and the severity of the COVID-19 disease can range from mild to fatal. Serious illnesses from the infection is caused by the onset of pneumonia. I had to call yesterday. Should I have a pneumonia vaccine? If you're over the age of 50, I believe, you should. If you've had one already up to 15 years ago, you're covered. So I found out, even with the new types of trivalent pneumonia vaccines, if you've had one at least in the last 15 years, you're covered. Serious illness is caused by pneumonia and acute respiratory distress syndrome. The most common symptoms include fever, cough, and shortness of breath. SARS-2 virus is thought to spread from person-to-person contact via droplet or aerosol infection. Spread out. Direct transmission, direct person-to-person, kissing, etc., or contact transmission. Infection can be caused by inhaling the air around someone who has coughed or sneezed, or by touching your mouth, nose, or eyes after touching a contaminated surface. And this is where the thought process is: if you don't have it, that little mask is not going to stop you from inhaling it. The best way to prevent infections is to avoid exposures to the disease. Actions to prevent the transmission of any respiratory disease, including COVID-19, include avoiding contact with others who are sick, avoid touching your mouth, nose, or eyes, covering coughs and sneezes, cleaning and disinfecting surfaces, and regular and thorough hand washing. Face masks will not protect you from COVID-19. Face masks will not protect you. Don't go crazy there. Scientists are still searching for risk factors, but data from the China CDC suggests that the elderly and people suffering from pre-existing medical conditions such as heart disease, respiratory disease, or diabetes have a higher risk of dying from the disease. These are typically those that have succumbed to this had a predisposing factor. Currently, there are zero FDA-approved treatments for COVID-19. Medicine's scrambling. Here's a few that are in testing right now. And you're going to find, I'll go through these quickly. This is intriguing. Several pharmaceutical companies and research organizations worldwide are involved in the development of potential vaccines, but they're feeling it's going to be at least another year and a half. There is something called mRNA 1273, a novel coronavirus vaccine, which has been shipped to the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease and is right now in phase 1 study. So they've already come up with something that's in phase 1. A drug called remdesivir, an investigational antiviral drug being studied in clinical trials in Nebraska. Lopinavir and ritonavir, a drug combination approved, you see the commercials on TV, to treat HIV. The feeling is the way it works to stop the spread of HIV, it's a brand name called Kaletra, is being studied in combination with a flu drug, Tamiflu. It's reported in February 18th that an elderly Chinese woman, the first patient to receive this cocktail, had made a complete recovery. One, but at least there's something there. Ravitpimavir, an antiviral drug which was reported in February 17th to have received marketing approval in China. Fingolimod A, an approved drug marketed under the brand name of Gilenya for treatment of relapsing forms of multiple sclerosis, is being studied. Methylprednisolone. I had a call again yesterday from somebody who said, my doctor gave me a Medrol dose pack. Widely used glucocorticoid called methylprednisolone being studied for safety and effectiveness in the treatment of novel coronavirus pneumonia. And lastly, bevacizumab, a new drug marketed under the brand name of Avastin for several types of breast cancer, is being studied for a treatment of the acute lung injury and acute respiratory distress syndrome of critically ill patients. So there's something happening. There's currently no vaccine as this goes on, and just a couple of the tips: avoid close contact with people who are sick, avoid touching your eyes, stay home when you're sick, cover your mouth or sneeze with a tissue, then throw the tissue in the trash, clean, disinfect frequently touched objects and surfaces, follow the CDC's recommendations, wash your hands often with soap and water at least 20 seconds, etc., etc. While there's no antiviral treatments, at least there are some things. Now, the thought process of what about vitamin C? Let me read to you this from Orthomolecular Medicine. Vitamin C as an antiviral. Is vitamin C enough to protect you? Listen to me. It's all about the dosage. The antioxidant properties of ascorbate. Notice they didn't say ascorbic acid. Ascorbate, buffered mineral, non-acidic, buffered vitamin C. Promotes a reducing environment in the bloodstream and in the tissues, enhancing the body's response to oxidative stress and inflammation, thereby helping to fight microbes and viruses that propagate in stressful conditions. Vitamin C in high doses is effective in preventing viral infections and enhancing recovery. Several mechanisms are known, including specific viral anti-replication processes and enhancement of many components of the body's cellular immune system. Scientifically proven. How do you know how much? We have a protocol that was done by Dr. Russell Jaffe years ago called a buffered ascorbate flush, where you can actually use a powdered form to basically prevent any kind of problems and find out what the proper dosage is. We can help you with that. Here's an article from the Journal of Immune Network. Vitamin C is an essential factor on the antiviral immune responses through the production of interferon A and B at the initial stages of viral infections. I take 4 to 6 grams every single day. So I'm going to say primarily, let's not forget, starting out, you need to be able to have the right forms of vitamin C at the right dose and make sure that that stays in your system on a regular, ongoing basis. Okay, so we do know that vitamin C does have a powerful antiviral effect, contrary to what a lot of doctors may say. Number 2, Sambuca, standardized elderberry extracts. I have a lot of people taking that now. Having that on hand, I like this one by Nature's Way. It also has vitamin C, zinc, propolis, and echinacea, gluten-free, kosher certified by Nature's Way, standardized elderberry immune syrup. And again, can be taken on a regular daily basis to protect yourselves. And if you do feel like you're coming down with something, we can dose it more aggressively. The gifts of the wise men: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. We know that frankincense is a powerful agent, so using the essential oil frankincense, inhalation, topical, can do an amazing job. The other one is myrrh. This is an extract of myrrh. It's called Core Myrrh Blend. It's amazing in its power to work as a bronchial dilator to open up the lungs so that we can keep more oxygen flowing. Keep more oxygen flowing, the lungs can stay stronger to fight off any kind of other issues. And then one of the most important entities that I like, the original. A lot of people have heard of Ocilio. This is the original product called Guna Flu by a German company called Guna Pharmaceuticals, Guna Biotherapeutics. Inside of this package are 6 little tubes that look like this. Inside of each tube is about 200 micro pellets that are saturated with the antiviral. Takes care of fever, headaches, minor aches and pains, and it's one of the best ways for, they claim, the only thing we can say, temporary relief from cold and flu symptoms. I have already seen this be powerful enough to actually knock a virus infection out of the body. So if you want my approach, you don't sit back and do nothing. And you don't want to sit there and wring your hands and says, oh my, am I going to get this or not? And you don't get over exaggerated by what the CDC says. Is it a serious problem? Absolutely. Do you sit back and do nothing? No way. You need to get involved of the right forms, of the right nutrients, at the right dose, and protect your whole family. I didn't even put vitamin D in here on top of that. But a strong dose of vitamin D, buffered vitamin C, anywhere from 2 to 10 grams a day. Core myrrh, 30 drops twice a day. Guna Flu, 1 tube a day. Sambucus, 1 dose a day, unless we're coming down with some of the symptoms. That kind of a combination together can put up a nice defensive shield. Is that a guarantee that you wouldn't catch this? No, but you're increasing your odds of survival and prevention better than anything I can think of. I've had flu once in my life, and I didn't like it. I've had a flu shot once in my life, and I didn't like it. And we can wait a year and a half and come up with a vaccine for this, but this is a problem in the fact that medicine has better recognized that these organisms, these viruses, aren't stagnant, they are mutating. You know, they said these came from a meat market, and possible, you know, and I don't know that they'll ever prove that. When you look at some of the body parts that were being consumed, did this start in an animal? More than likely. Did it spread via consumption of body parts that should not have been consumed? Probably. So the concept is prevention, 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 excuse me, and doing the best you can to dose. Again, if I was going to say one thing, most important entity that you can have. This is not standard vitamin C. This is buffered mineral ascorbates. In a concentrated tablet form, we also have it in a powdered form that you can treat the entire family. If you want more information, call us at 678-228-8900. Again, we're making no claims here. We're giving you some information to please share with others, to calm them down a little bit, to make sure that we're practicing some of the best tips that you can to prevent. Now, this will be up on our YouTube page so that you can maintain it and share it with others. Want help with that and how to find it? Go to our website, thenutritionshop.net, thenutritionshop.net, or call us here again at the office for any questions you may have, 678-228-8900. Hopefully this has helped you. We'll be back to our regular rotation tomorrow. God bless you, folks. Have a good, healthy day. Talk to you soon.